I know that Maharishi University in Fairfield, Iowa, and the David Lynch Foundation put a lot into promoting TM with students and veterans and all kinds of people of all walks. Might they be interested in the CE5 protocols, do you think?
Oh yeah, a lot of people in the meditation movements, TM and otherwise, are. And in fact, I've been invited out there. I've never had the time to go, but a lot of people who do meditation and study the physics behind mind, body, and also the science of consciousness fields are very interested in this. What, if anything, they have done with it or would want to do with it, I don't know. It may be a bridge too far because, you know, there's sort of a nexus of disinformation and automatic kook factor that gets associated with anything UFO and ET. And that's been done since the 1950s by the CIA, and it's been very effective. So a lot of people don't want to lose their respectability by touching the UFO issue. That's just true. I mean, it's a psychological warfare is the term used in the CIA document I have from 1953, where they specifically talked about the psychological warfare value of the subject, but also how it could be basically neutralized. And even up to the point of enlisting very renowned scientists on the payroll of the agency, Dr. Donald Menzel, who was this renowned astrophysicist at Harvard. I have a document where it names him, and it says it cannot be known that he's working with us on this because then it would lose all credibility. But he was the person who back in that era, 56, would stand up and debunk all this. And then there was a Professor Condon of the Condon Committee at the University of Colorado that was in charge of the Project Blue Book, the Condon Commission, to look into whether Project Blue Book at the Air Force should be continued or shut down. And so he was the chairman of the committee, or it was called the Condon Committee, C-O-N-D-O-N. And Professor Condon worked with Dr. Robert Woods, who I mentioned is one of our disclosure witnesses from McDonnell Douglas. And when Dr. Woods kept bringing really hard data cases, Dr. Condon went to the head of McDonnell Douglas, old man McDonald himself, and tried to get Dr. Woods fired. I have all this on videotape, by the way. And eventually, and of course, Dr. Woods was just so shocked that this man who was supposed to be an independent professor looking into this was so biased. After I met with the CIA director in the 90s, I got a tranche of documents that named Dr. Condon as an asset of the CIA. And it's in black and white. So it's very, very well done from the point of, if you want to be Machiavellian and just twisted, but it is well done. And for the right amount of money or threats or inducements, they can get the cooperation of certain people who have sterling reputations and who can then ridicule or take the subject down. So the problem usually is that by the time I emerged on the scene in the 90s, the CIA already had a 40-year run on top of me of disinformation, ridiculing the subject, being sure that things were covered in the National Enquirer, catapulting to the forefront of the field charlatans and cranks and all kinds of misinformation and disinformation and lunatic conspiracy theories. And so the problem is, it's not like you're climbing Mount Everest not from base camp, but from 20,000 leagues under the sea up to the top of Mount Everest. And that's the problem with a lot of people who privately will express a great deal of interest and publicly would not want to be associated because of the social opprobrium and ridicule attached to the subject.